3,
Three,
go.
go. All right. Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, what I have here before me is a one of a kind piece. Maybe it's not one of a kind, but it is unlike anything I've ever seen. If you don't know, my mom is a very big fan of Bon Jovi. Now, I don't know if this was like a gag gift or if it was dead serious, but this is the mouse pad that I am currently using.
That is fucking hilarious. Wait,
do you
was
s- do you see this, bro?
I'm so I'm confused. Was he a sex icon?
I kind of feel like he was like a heartbreaker.
Well, I know okay. You want to hear a crazy story?
I'd love to.
So my aunt, I think her friend dated Bon Jovi before he got famous.
No shit.
So she was out at all the bar gigs and everything. And
Right.
I might be utterly wrong about this story. I've heard the story like 3 times at the age of 10, 14, and then my mom would start to try to tell it, and I'm like, I've heard it. So, yeah, but because I always feel weird when parents talk about old relationships. Just like
Right.
that was high school. That was like 40 years ago type shit. Like,
Right.
um, no hate on the parents. I'm just the youngest. Um, or an ageist. Is that what they call it?
What?
Have you heard that? It's when
None.
people are against people who are too old. So like people who just don't like old people, just don't fuck with them, like hate them.
I am a firm believer. I'm not going to sit here and say that every old person shouldn't have a license, but like
Oh no. Uh,
but like they got to get retested and not the bullshit that like is the driver's test because they would ace that shit. Like they'll stop 10 feet before the stop sign, sit there for like 25 seconds, and then do like 5 under the speed limit. Like they will nail the driver's test. They need to get like a real world driving
so
test
so
for
there's
old people.
there in PA there's something like that. My friend's dad um used to do that. And basically what happens is say they were driving 5 miles under and a cop pulled them over and they seemed a little delirious at that time the cop could be like, hey, we're not revoking your license, but you will have to go and get a new driving test. I think it's like after the age of like 70 or something in PA. And it's not mandatory. It's not like when you turn 70 you have to go and get a new driver's test. It's just like say if you bumped into a car or they saw you hit a fucking like curb or something like that. They're like maybe we should evaluate your driving. That's in PA. I think
I
they should
think
bring
it
that to
should be
Jersey.
nationwide enforced. If
Yeah.
you
Well,
hit
it's you can't do that with driving though, man. For real though, think about it. Because when we were out in the middle of the fucking country and Texas, you're not. It is unlikely you are gonna actually hit something when you're
Hmm.
just like you could hit an animal. You know what I mean? And like if they hit an animal, like unfortunately they're frail. So what I'm saying is that like in those states, that's why kids can drive at like 14 in Florida. Like you can get your license, I think, at 14 in Florida, and like I think it's the
Really? I
same
thought
in.
it was like 16.
It might be 15. And then I
Meet in the
think in
middle.
yeah, I think in even like like one of the southern like states, um, like I think like you could be like 13 because you have to like kids drive the tractors, so they like have to know how to drive their fucking like dad's trucks and shit on the farm. So like I think you can get your license even earlier there. Um, we have such a late one because we literally are in a city. Like I live in a city, you live in a city. No matter what we say, we kind of live in a suburban city where it's just like a
Right.
lot of houses, a lot of cars. We're squished together. So it makes sense that we have like 17 does make sense because when I was 18, I was driving like a dumbass.
Right.
When I was 21, I was even more of a dumbass. I don't even get into what I used to do when I drove. Um, but
Right.
yeah, the Bon Jovi story.
Road bonging.
Yeah, road bonging, road dabbing, road beer bonging, road shotguns, fucking
Oh
coercing
God.
Matt into driving sober after we slam a 30 rack. And he's just like, come on, I wanted to drink. We're like, you got it tomorrow. Nope.
Tomorrow never came.
Tomorrow never
Sorry, Matt.
came. There was one tomorrow. There was one tomorrow. And then you and then you got sober, and then for 30 days you had to deal with what you put Matt through. Remember that?
Hell yeah.
Matt would walk over to me.
Yeah.
And
Hey, man.
he would walk over to me and he'd be like, yo,
What?
let's fuck with Jarrett. And I'd be like, all right. And he would grab he grabbed a soccer ball and he just started yucking it at you. He was like, wake up, pussy. And I was just like, oh, Matt's just giving Jarrett 2 years of shit right now.
Yeah, that's the Jerry treatment, man.
Yeah. Luckily, I was never in that. I got to be the median where I got to get drunk as fuck all fucking tour. And you guys argued about who drove.
Right. All I can say on this whole topic is that I'm very glad that all of my bullshit, our bullshit, didn't end up with anyone getting hurt
or almost in jail.
You know.
Or almost in jail.
Yeah.
Dude, should we tell that story?
So we got arrested.
I think we should tell that story. That's a really good story. You have a better memory about it than I do. And then hold on.
How could I forget, Luke?
Yeah. So after this story, we'll get into. I got like 3 questions for Jarrett. If you hear my cat meowing, I'm sorry. We just got a pit bull and we're trying to house train the pit bull, and then we're gonna cat train the pit bull. So he's stuck in my room right now. But I apologize for that if he meows a lot. I'll try to get him on my shoulders again if he does. But Jarrett, the floor is yours. Tell the story.
Oh, thank you, Luke. I'm very excited.
I can't.
Seriously,
I can't believe we haven't told it yet.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I mean, in a really, really twisted way, but it's funny. So we did. It wasn't even a tour. It was like a 2-day weekend. Like, it was barely even a run. Like, we played a show in Delaware with Pale Shade, and then we drove to Connecticut to play a show with Pale Shade, and that's where we met Future Teens. That was cool.
Billy
Yo,
Joel.
shout out fake Billy Idol.
Billy Idol, yeah, dude. The
tried
creepiest...
to sell us.
Oh yeah,
he tried to sell us crack.
Yeah, we were like, "What do you got, like bud?" And he was like, "Nah, I got meth, I got crack, and I got heroin." And we're like, "Oh, nah, we're good.
We're cool."
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, he was a real character at that bar gig. That
a regular
night.
Too, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, he just did that. So anyway, we drank for like 13 hours and disrespected.
Legitimately 13 hours.
Yeah, and
like 7 to.
It was like 6. Yeah, I was remembering it as 6 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. It was enough. And absolutely disrespected the Red Roof Inn in Connecticut. And then me and Luke, like, we still hadn't had enough. So we just, like, everyone's sleeping and we're just like going piped up. And eventually we felt bad.
Remember, I woke Matt up. I put the fucking rig to his mouth and it was like,
oh yeah,
this pussy.
I do.
Yeah, I just woke him up and made him hit a dab, and he went right back to sleep.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot, and we did hit the point where it was like, wow, we paid for this place, like, as a collective, 2 bands, 6 of us. So some of the 6 of us are trying to sleep, and maybe we should just, like, go out in the van. Like, the sun's coming up, like, we should just go in the van. So me and Luke just, like, slept on the floor in the back of the van. And
guilt, just sweating with guilt.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was sound asleep. I guess when Matt came to like drive us home, you woke up.
I'm an easy sleeper. They were looking for us for an hour.
I didn't know that.
They didn't know where we went. Like they didn't even, they checked the van, I think, and like looked into the van, but didn't open the van. And they're like, they're not in the van. They're not. So they think that I guess they thought that we just dipped, like got an Uber somewhere or something. I don't
That's
know.
so funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, the moment I woke up, I guess you guys were trying to wake me up for like 10 minutes. We were at the Thomas Edison Service Plaza on the Turnpike.
Yes, sir.
And we're almost home. We've got like 45 minutes, like hour maybe, till we're home. We're in New Jersey at the Service Plaza, and you guys tried very hard to wake me up. I wouldn't wake up apparently. And then I just want to start by saying you guys really, really should not have woken me up.
So yes, but we were more scared of the fact of you not having food.
Yeah, because I get why you did what you did. If I woke up and you guys had some like banging ass like
Yup.
hungover breakfast, and I was just like in the van eating like gummy bears,
But we had bread, maybe.
bread. Yeah, at that point,
Oh,
like
dude, what was it? The struggle sandwiches.
yeah,
That's what
struggle
we were
sandwiches.
eating. That's
Yeah,
what we were
man.
eating.
So if you don't know what a struggle sandwich is, the struggle sandwich is it works with pretty much any chip of your choice. My favorite struggle sandwich was we did the cheddar and sour cream ruffles on some white bread, Doritos,
Nice
nacho
white
cheese
bread, not
Doritos.
cheap white bread. You can't get
Yeah.
cheap white bread
Yeah,
because
you got to get the good shit.
because the chips when you push the sandwich together, it's gonna split the sandwich. You got to spend that $2 on that fucking loaf. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked the ruffles, the nacho cheese Doritos, and occasionally sun chips even. It didn't
Yeah.
really matter. It was a struggle sandwich, and
I don't even think we tasted it. We burnt our taste buds with shots and smoking like fucking somebody's joint that we just met 20 minutes ago. Like,
it literally didn't matter. It was just like we should probably eat, so we're gonna put these chips between this bread and just call it a day.
and it was good. That was the craziest part about it was that it was actually good. Like it wasn't
I love me a struggle sandwich.
I kind of
bro.
eat. I still eat them.
I was gonna say like I want to go downstairs and have a struggle sandwich after we do this.
We should give a tutorial on how to make a struggle sandwich.
All right, yeah, I'm down.
30-second YouTube video.
Yeah, I'm down for like a podcast bonus episode of the struggle sandwich.
All right, so we wake you up. We're like,
yeah.
bro, get up. You need to get a bagel. You're like, nah. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I know. I literally said this. I know you're gonna bitch at us when you don't fucking have food and we're eating. And you're like, no, I'll be fine. And we're like, no, Jarrett, we know you. We fucking know you, man. Get up. And then
I don't even think I was like actually awake for that whole conversation either.
No, you weren't. Like we literally were shaking you, trying to get you up. Because you're a heavy sleeper. You're a very heavy sleeper.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And especially with 13 hours of
Liquor.
beer and vodka in me, it's just a wrap.
Yeah.
But so eventually they fucked up. They made the mistake and they got me up and they unleashed the fucking Kraken on the Thomas Edison Service Plaza.
Literally unleashed the shit.
I don't even remember much of it, but I do remember we went in. I know I took a one hitter in the bathroom.
We all did.
Yeah.
That was our dude. Hold on, time out. Right, I think we had to get your car inspected right before we went on that tour, and we were in the DMV. Listen how stupid we are. We were
This was you. I did not do this. This was you.
Oh, this is really? I thought maybe it was me and Matt. I don't know. But we go into the bathroom. I pack a fucking one hitter. Mind you, there's a cop out front of the bathroom sitting there. Jarrett's talking to his old drum teacher.
Who we ran into at PennDOT. I had a PA license at that point.
So I hit the one hitter. I walk out. Not a thing happened. And I think that's when it really spiraled because we were just like, if a cop can't smell it, no one can. And at least for me, that's how it spiraled for me. Every bathroom, it was like as when I was a kid, I used to try to piss. This is so fucked up. But
Oh God.
I
I don't
would,
like how this is starting.
yeah, every bathroom I would piss on the floor when I would visit a new bathroom that I went to.
That's
To mark,
horrible. I hate
mark
you.
my territory.
Your territory.
I think that's what it was, dude. I don't know.
I
It was a
hate
thing.
you.
It was a thing I did. It was a thing I hate myself now because I had to clean that shit up when I was working at Starbucks. Kids would do the same shit to me, and I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be upset. I was like, I deserve this shit. I did this. So, but
Get
it was
down
the
on
same
your
thing.
hands and knees and wipe this piss up.
Yeah. Well, no, I had a mop. I would never put my hands in that shit. But same thing.
You
I think I
deserve
was
to, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was marking my territory. I think I was trying to let cops know or anybody who knew that I didn't give a fuck about the rules. And that's what I was living by.
This is so fucking horrible.
Dude, hold on though. Remember me 3 years ago. Remember me. I was a little fucking hoodlum. I did whatever I wanted when I wanted. Whatever I did. I would be on acid for fucking 2 months straight. Like working, doing my job, like living life. Like that was just a crazy time in my life. And that was like the end. I think literally that tour was the end of it. I think I stamped it because of the rest of the story. Which
Yeah, I think for all of us, it marked. Now, I didn't change like drastically after this, but it was the first time for me and probably all of us that we kind of realized like we're not invincible.
Yeah.
And like we're either gonna get in real trouble or die if we keep doing this. I mean, Matt was always pretty responsible, but like, you know me, bro. Like I literally was trying to die.
Yeah, I mean, and let's put an asterisk on this whole thing. This whole time, I have a warrant, guys.
Yes.
For my arrest. So let's continue. Now you're walking in, right? You're walking in. We're all sitting here. We see 6 fucking college kids, and we're like 35 a G. First thing we say, screamed it. The first thing. Well, no, we went to the bathroom. Yeah, we went to the bathroom, smoked, and then we did that. So, yeah, you go.
I think I got Pizza Hut, and I went up, and I was just like, can I get that shit boneless?
For a pizza.
Boneless pizza.
We went up to every shop. We didn't just go up to, I don't think you remember. We went up to multiple. Is this shit boneless? Is it boneless? All right, word. No, I don't want that. And we would walk away. That's what we kept doing.
I hate myself. Let me just stress that. So yeah, and I think did I spill fruit punch everywhere, or was that a different time?
Okay. All over the floor.
Yeah.
And you got a new one and left it. Mind you, I'm also kind of being reckless. I'm just not, I don't think I was as drunk as Jarrett at this time. I
slept for like maybe 3 hours. Like
yeah.
I was still fucked up.
Yeah, I slept for like 2, woke up, and I had that like 1 hour of just like, oh God, I'm fucked up. And then I like kind of came down from it. So like I was still But
yeah.
Jerry was piped. He was literally like a pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
like,
I was fucked up, bro. And yeah. So anyway, we finally decide like we have to get out before we really get in trouble. So we went back to the van, and I know I went live on my Finsta, and that made it. What's up?
Walking to the van. We're in the parking lot, walking out. You're on your Finsta live. You're like, we're going to go live and fuck with people. Like, that was your mindset.
Yeah. And that's when it really, like, I mean, what happened inside was probably much worse. But, like, being live, like, just made me more reckless. And
all the people being like, Jerry, when you coming back? You know, like, man, piping like, you up even further.
Yeah, like, I just, like, thrived on it. And, like, there's, like, people, like, in the comments, like, bro, also, are you okay? And that, like, that was just even more fuel, because I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I won't fucking die. Enjoy the shit show. you know?
Yeah.
So we're eventually just like smoking weed next to the van and still live.
Bulling.
Just bowling. And this undercover cop, you can see it. I
Hold
still
on, hold
have
on, hold on, hold on.
ugh.
You got to get to the part with hold on. So I this is something you maybe not remember well. We're walking in the parking lot and he's live.
Uh,
There's a dad and his like
I
5-year-old son.
tried I tried to avoid this, man.
No, we gotta say it. It's hilarious.
So I'm live. I'm holding the phone and I just like stick the phone up so this like dad and his young child are in the video. And I'm
This is so fucked up. Oh god.
and I'm just like yo 30 35 and G.
We got pounds in the van. Pounds in the van.
And in my head at the time, I'm fucking crying, Luke. In my head at the time, I really thought they were like 25 yards away.
Oh no, dude. They were like
Dude,
they were like 2 people behind you.
they were like 5 feet away and they walked up to the car next to us. They were parked next to us. And so it was just a shit show. But here's the thing, like everyone who had to deal with us and me that day, they got the last laugh because we're sitting there just fucking bowling outside the van. And this guy walks up to throw something in the trash can, and it's like the perfect moment of chaos. Luke drops the dugout. Homie man throws something in the trash, and I'm still live, by the way. And then he walks up and he pulls out a badge and he's like, "State police, hand that over, put the phone down." And I have the live stream on my old phone. I
The
will
case is
not.
the case is over, right? You're
Yeah,
like
I mean,
expunged and everything.
yeah, everything's done. But so
You should send me that shit. You should send me that shit.
I will try to dig it out.
I won't. I
Um,
won't. I won't post it, but I kind of want to sample it.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So you see my fucking face just like the expression just goes cold and the live stream ends and that was it and then like we got arrested, but it was like the funniest arrest that you could imagine because like I was still fucking trashed and I was just like, all right, well, like this is happening and I'm just gonna make the most of it.
Yeah.
And we're just like bullshitting with the fucking like now I want to say the guy who initially discovered us, he
Did not
was
like us.
fucking he was not about it. He was not chill. He was very, very scary.
He also wasn't on duty yet. He was literally grabbing like his whole thing when because I was in his car, but
Yes.
so he literally was like, I was just getting breakfast, wasn't even on duty, and you made me do my job, and I was like, damn. And then he was just like, I was like, so like you pull a bunch of us over? He's like, well, last week I just I had to go find this dude who shot some woman in her head with a
Oh,
shotgun.
sick.
And I was like, oh, so I'm just, you're pissed. You're pissed. You have to deal. Like I knew from that moment, I was like, you don't want to deal with me. But
Yeah. So then 2 younger detectives come up.
chillers.
Yeah. So like super fucking chill. And they're just like tearing the van apart. And I remember specifically being like, go in my book bag. There's a half a zip in there. There's some oil in there. And like just like telling them where shit was. And then like
We had a felony. By the way, we had a felony amount of pot and oil on us. And
oh
this is when
hell yeah.
oil was still considered heroin.
Yeah, it's like schedule 1.
Yeah.
And And I remember they're asking us about the jewel pods. And I'm like, nah, that shit's nicotine. You don't want that. Go in my book bag. This is what you'll
Yeah.
find.
Wait,
And
did they
so,
let us hit our I think I felt like they let us hit our
yes.
jewels
Yeah. I was like, I, I, th-
before they, yeah, because they were like, all right, everybody turn around. And I think we were like, can we hit our jewel one more time?
I was, yeah, I was like, can I hit the jewel, please?
And I
I
think they were
don't,
just like, yeah.
I
But I
don't
don't
know.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember that well because I was, again, drunk still and
Yeah.
high. So,
Yeah. So, like, we get full on fucking arrested in front of everyone that we
that
probably
dad and his
annoyed.
son watching us,
Oh yeah, bro.
he's
Like
just
they
sitting there eating his breakfast, just like,
loving it because
you got a
like
pound in your van? You know what I mean? Just like
yeah.
chilling.
Yeah. So it was
Dude, oh, wait. You remember when the guy was speeding? You were like, yo, why don't you get him?
oh yeah, yeah, we're not even there yet, bro.
Oh,
So
oh.
they fucking arrest us and they put me and Matt in the car with the one detective and they put Luke with the scary guy because Luke had a warrant.
Sarge. Didn't
Yeah,
have a
we were
name. Didn't
yeah,
have a
we
name.
just called him Sarge.
No. They go, his name is Sarge.
Yeah.
We don't call him anything but Sarge. And I was like, all right, Sarge.
I remember looking at the whatever the fuck you want to call it, the not ticket, but like the ticket,
Yeah.
and seeing his name and being like, "Oh, that's what Sarge's name is, huh?"
Oh, yeah.
But so yeah, they take us to Molly Pitcher, um, the service station, and I can't drive on the turnpike without thinking about this because I see Molly Pitcher get further north. I see Thomas Edison. I can literally, if I'm coming from up there going south on the turnpike, I can see the trash can that we were parked in front of that the
Damn.
shit went down. And every time I can't help but look and think
Yeah.
about how different everything is. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
That's the one cool thing where it's just like, this was our last hurrah.
yeah, like I
This is
just
that's the good point that we all grew up. But
yeah, yeah. So they drive us to Molly Pitcher. I remember this dude was like driving like an asshole, not the cop, this guy on the road, and I was like, "Yo, why don't you go get him? You could just let us go." And I remember the whole ride just like bullshitting, like literally bullshitting and talking shit and just like chilling with the fucking detectives. And then they take us in and that James Brown video we were watching a whole lot during this time.
terrible video.
It's horrible.
He's a terrible man.
It's horrible.
But it's funny to watch a man on PCP after him assaulting his wife just act like nothing fucking happened.
Right.
It's just hilarious to see the fucking disgust in the woman, the anchor, where she's just like, you don't care.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like, ugh. But
So we watched that video in these 2 days probably like 20 times. And so when they took us in, like they had to split us up. Like they could not put us in the same
that
room.
would have been bad.
And I just got to the point where I'm sitting there and I'm bored. And I'm just like, alone from night to night, you'll find me. And then Luke starts saying shit. And then like I think they started
Jam.
jam. So I think they started getting pissed off. So we piped it down. And then I remember like I was shackled to the bench and we just like started communicating in shackle. and then I was like tapping on like the like windowsill thing. Like
Honestly, it wasn't a good like jail. It was very hollow, so everything was like it was weird. So all the pipes, like you get chained to the seat in a room, and all the pipes that you're chained to connect to the other pipes in the other rooms. So when Jarrett would like what he said would like hit the shackle, me and Matt would both hear it because it's like a hollow pipe. It seems like.
Yeah, it
And
was
like,
like everything was just like very noisy.
yeah,
Yeah, noisy and boomy. I combined
yeah,
it.
wow,
Noimy.
noisy.
Um, yeah, so it was real fucking noimy in there. Acoustic treatment just not on point at all. There was none.
They needed some
Um,
bass
yeah, they needed some bass
traps.
traps, some fucking treatment blankets,
Dude,
but
who's their mixer, bro?
yeah, right. Like who who designed this room?
Terrible.
Trash. But so yeah,
We're
we're
trying to
like
perform.
we're communicating, and then like I started just like tapping. Like, could you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started like tapping and just like making beats, and then it was like me and Luke were doing like a call and response, and then I think they yelled at us again, and like they
No,
took us in.
I don't think they ever yelled at us. They literally brought us water and shit. Like they were treating us
I
very
do
nice.
remember
They were
that.
treating us very nice. And this is also the first time I think I've actually fully witnessed like
White
racial,
privilege.
yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah, because like this is like not even part of the story, but this dude comes in, he's black, and they're treating him like shit, but we're on the same level as this guy. Like we're drunk, we're being annoying, we're being rowdy, and he was just probably doing the same. He's drunk, probably being rowdy at one of the rest stops, something like that, but they just treated him like shit, didn't
I
give him water.
remember I remember the entire time in the car, all I could think about, other than like, yo, this is wild. Like, aside from this is wild and like I'm fucked up and I'm just gonna like make the best of a bad situation, I couldn't stop thinking about like white fucking privilege, dude.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was it was insane.
yeah, we got
I
look,
just
I,
like the
I
whole time all I could think about was like, if I was black, this would not be going down the way it's going down.
we probably wouldn't have even made it to that fucking rest stop,
Dude, yeah, like I
you
I
know,
would have
because
got
I
my
was
ass
reaching,
beat.
in my pocket, like literally. This is how nonchalant the arrest was. I was reaching in my pockets for shit when they were like, "Yo, do you have anything?" I'd be like, in my pockets, reaching in them. They didn't even. They eventually were like, "Yo, hands out of your pockets." After I showed them I had nothing, and I was like, "Oh, okay, my bad, my bad." Because it was kind of chilly at that time,
Yeah, I
so I kept,
remember. Yeah, you kept. It was in. I think it was in January.
yeah,
This was probably
and I kept
like,
putting my hands in my hoodie pocket to stay warm or
yeah.
something like that.
And you. I remember this. You kept fucking putting your hands in your
And
pocket,
I
and
I
Matt
would
was
just be
like,
like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm
and Matt
sorry."
was like, Luke, pockets.
Yeah,
But
it was
so
literally like I was getting scolded by the police and Jarrett and Matt. So like I feel like they were just like, oh, these guys, well, obviously white privilege, like, but I think they were like, these guys are just like three young dudes. But like that's where the right white privilege comes in, because it's just like, there's a 12-year-old with a water gun and he gets shot dead. But he was
right.
a 12-year-old who was probably a nice kid playing
Yeah.
with a water gun. But
Yeah.
but so we're in the cell, we're making rackets. Matt's in the other John, right? He's hearing what's going on with me. Me and you are just acting like free will, like nothing's bad happening.
I remember they took me in for my mugshot and fingerprints. And I remember specifically making homie man retake my mugshot because, and I quote, it wasn't funny enough.
Yeah, I asked to buy one of the machines. So they went and fingerprinted me, and I was like, yeah, how much is this? And they were like, what? I was like, how much is it? And then I asked for a job.
You did ask for a
I
job.
asked for a job. I was like, you guys hiring? And they were like, get in the cell.
I remember that. Yo, y'all hiring. Oh
I
my
literally was like, I
God.
want to be the fingerprinter. Like, this seems dope. You just scan people's fingers. Like, what? But yeah.
Oh my God. It's so wild that it literally sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
But this is like, ask Matt. Matt wasn't fucked up. Like, ask him.
Yeah, he
you
was
know?
sober as a bird.
Yeah. I mean, the man was a little high, but the whole arresting kind
Oh,
of,
my high was gone.
yeah, it kind of
Long
ruins
gone.
that. So,
As soon as he said state, I was like, oh, I'm not high. I'm good.
yeah.
Sober. But
So, yeah, and then eventually, like, another like total white privilege moment, and just like um indicative of how chill this whole thing was like, they drove us like homies drove us back to the van.
Which it should have been impounded.
Yeah, and we were like 30 minutes away. Like it wasn't like right up the street. Like it was we were in the car for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then they drove us back and then we just like drove the van home.
Well, and then when I got dropped off, the young girl pulls me to the side and she goes, and this was my realization of white privilege. This was it for me. This is like the full seed that planted it all, and where I started trying to like become more of an activist in all this shit. So like I said, I had a warrant out for my arrest. She pulls me to the side. She goes, you know, you have a warrant out for your arrest, and I'm still handcuffed. So I'm thinking that they're kind of just teasing me, just bringing me to the fucking van to just like let me watch my friends go home or let go. And she's like, this is what we're going to do. You got 2 months. Your court date's in 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Got postponed like so many times. But she was like, if you don't have your warrant paid by then, we're going to arrest you for both of the charges. And I was like, cool. So I paid my warrant off, and then, then we got home. And, you know, it's great. We were, well, you know, kind of stupid right after what we did, but we were smart enough to leave ourselves oil and bud for when we got home.
Oh, yeah.
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 So
What else were we going to do?
We weren't even that upset. We weren't even.
Also, they missed a couple things. They missed the one-hitter bong, which I would have been really sad because Matt did a beautiful job engineering this Voss water bottle into a bong that fit a one-hitter as like a slide and bowl piece. So they missed that. They also missed the cap for the dab rig.
It had like a 1/4 gram on it too.
And my rig was still at home. So like it fit my nail perfectly. And we went in the van and we were like, fuck, they missed it. We also took, I can't believe this didn't come up, but
I'm
at
so
the show
for this.
at the show in Delaware, like it was in some like hicky Delaware part where they would just like shoot fucking shotguns in the woods because like they had like that much land. And we took a shotgun shell as a memento. And they didn't find it.
It's literally a felony. Matt couldn't have owned a shotgun at that time. He wasn't 21.
Right.
Literally.
They didn't find it, I guess, because they didn't mention it.
Also, I don't think they took the rest of our liquor and beer.
Really?
Yeah. I think we had like a half rack and like a little bit of liquor left, and they left it there. And a main reason why they should have impounded the car was because when they opened the van, they go, is that where somebody sits? And it's a lawn chair with fucking bungee cords that you would strap around yourself like this. And it was a seat. Not gonna lie. If we got hit on the side, I'm dead, right? That bungee cord's gonna break my ribs, just destroy everything inside of me. But if he hits the brakes, I'm not flying. So
it was the best with what we could do. But yeah, like I remember we didn't have a seat in the van at this time. And they were like, is that where the third person sits? And we were like, yeah.
Dude, they let us go. Like it's still crazy that happened. And like the whole thing, what happened was that Jarrett eventually was like, hey, because I had a warrant out for my arrest. It would have been my third arrest for pot, and I would have at least seen 6 months or at least 3 months on good terms. Like I was going to probably go to jail if I was charged with it. So like even after my warrant, I was still looking at jail time for, or not. It would have been 60 days, so 3 months, or good terms 30 days, which would have been one month.
Yeah,
2 months.
I mean, I recognized that, like Matt was always the more innocent one that just got like wrapped up in my bullshit.
Yeah.
And Luke couldn't take another charge without having real ramifications. So I
like
was
real, like real shit.
Yeah. So I just said I got to take this L for my boys, and they paid my court fees. And
what did your lawyer say to us though?
Oh my fucking God, dude.
Heartbroken.
So we're all like, the judge hears our shits and we get sent out, and our lawyer comes back to my lawyer comes back to the three of us and he's like, so everything's good. Like, it all went well. It all went the way we planned, except Jarrett is going to have to do a night in jail. And I was like, well, I, this is what I get. I mean, it's been a long time coming, honestly. So, okay. And then he's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you.
Dude, his lawyer was big chiller. That's like a family friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the biggest chiller. Like
If you need a lawyer, hit me up.
he walked in. I didn't have a lawyer, and he literally just went, "All right, I'll represent you, no pay." He literally was just like, "I'll be representing you, no worries." I was like, "Wait, this shit costs thousands of dollars, my dude. What are you doing? Like, you just like?" And I was like, "Cool, like that's all." Like, so the whole situation was that I had ramifications, but since Jarrett's lawyer was a big chiller, if he couldn't get that thing to go through, I think he was gonna work for me, right? Like he was gonna do.
I don't even know, man.
I
But
kind of
we
forget
just
that
got off
situation. I was so
so
nervous.
easy. Like, everything about it was like so easy.
And the judge was very reasonable, a very reasonable man. These two girls had rolling papers and an empty grinder. No weed, no baggie of weed, no weed in the grinder, maybe a little keef, right? And the prosecutors just literally trying to get these girls charged.
I remember this.
they're
The
they're,
dude
they're
was being like
a dick.
so fucking douchey, trying to like.
They were like Indian or like Asian, like in that area of like India-ish Asia. But like it was so obvious this dude was just like, nah, I don't like them. And then the judge was just like, so you're bringing me a case about rolling papers and a grinder. It's dismissed. Like, what is this? And he just dismissed it, right? Literally, dude said one sentence. The judge was like, it's dismissed. The dude said another sentence, and then he hit his gavel thing. And he was like, it's dismissed. I was like, wow, this judge is where do we have court? Was it Trenton?
Yeah, it was like Trenton, I think.
So that makes sense. They were on the verge of decriminalizing weed.
I remember going to the courthouse and I was running late because my life was fucking unmanageable and I had no gas.
I remember you called me. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, my gas light was on and I was like, I'm either gonna be perfectly on time or I'm not making it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's gonna be. Turns out we sat and fucking did nothing for like 3 hours.
We weren't even in the courtroom for the first 2 hours.
Yeah. But anyway, like I was so pressed. And I was like, I have to be there at 12. I have to. And
did
I
you
made
smoke?
Yeah, I definitely smoked when I woke up.
Yeah, I was ripped during that.
Like,
I was like, if I'm going to jail, I'm going high, bro. Put eye drops in my eyes, mouthwash. I was like, I'm going ripped. I'm going into jail as high as I possibly could. I smoked a bunch of bongs. I was prepared. I was literally prepared because I didn't have a lawyer. I had what are those people called? Like
public defender.
Yeah, I had a public defender. I was fucked. Every public defender throws you under the bus because they get more money out of the fucking prosecutor. Right. That's how it goes.
Right.
But
so that was it. And, it took me a couple months after that. I got what they call California sober. I was just smoking pot, but eventually.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, California sober.
In AA?
Yeah, I suppose.
I was California sober for 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really drink, but.
So anyway, yeah, like I tried to get my shit together and I did a little bit and then I started drinking again and it was the same shit and I don't know. In April 2019, I made a decision that changed.
It's been that long, bro?
Yeah, I'm coming up on, God willing, 2 years.
2 years. Yeah. 2020. That's crazy, bro. That's nuts.
I know.
That's crazy. It's weird to think about because it still feels like because that's how monumental that moment was in my life. Like it feels like yesterday that happened because it was just like the big change where I was just like, all right. Because I remember I got a job after that.
Mm.
Like because I was a salesman for Oh,
I was,
very.
so- I was something of a salesman, a businessman, an entrepreneur myself.
Since I was 16.
Yeah.
And that was my last hoorah, I think,
Hmm.
because I stopped everything. I was just like, I'm done with this. I mean, I think we had a little stunt where we were low on cash and we were like, but that's when you were California sober, and now we're good Samaritans who pay taxes, work 40-hour jobs, and we're adults now. And it's a bittersweet feeling, I've learned,
Yeah.
because I miss those times where we were just getting reckless as hell. But the amount of things I probably forget is what makes me be like, like, ugh,
Yes.
that's not fun. Because there was nights I was drinking handles, and after a handle, like, and nothing weird, but like being with like homies and shit, like, people look at you a little different when you clear a handle right in front of them. They go, oh, he has a problem. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Rather than like, oh, Luke's having fun. Luke's drinking something away. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm California sober in a sense. I drink. I don't know. I don't really. I drink on the holidays, and that's
You're
like,
there's no reason for you to say anything other than like you're just like a regular person.
I don't like that either. I think what I'm saying is I don't like that nausea shit anymore.
Right.
Like that, I
Yeah.
was saying that to Kevin. Like, I was like, because we were talking yesterday about drinking. I was like, bro, I don't even really. It's not even like a thing I think about anymore. And he was just like, yeah, man. I was like, once I get like one shot into me, I get nauseous, and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't like this feeling. And especially
Yeah.
during a pandemic, it makes me scared to get drunk all the time. And I don't know. But what I'm saying is I feel a lot better, like in general, because I would drink on the weekends, and then Monday would come, and I'm hungover on Monday, and then I have to work a 40-hour job, but like now I feel me, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I
It's weird what one day of drinking can do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like at
man.
weekly, like a schedule in a sense.
Yeah, man. 5 years beat me up,
Yeah, I know.
and I love my life today. I really do, and I recognize that I I have a wild story, and I did a lot of like wild shit, and I did a lot of like fucked up shit, and my whole my whole thing, like if nothing else that keeps me going is like just trying to keep walking this path, so maybe I can help someone who is truly like a good person, and give them that same chance
Yeah,
to be who they always wanted to be.
yeah, and I think that's kind of, uh, you know, I'm shit with words sometimes, but I think that's kind of what I've been saying for like months now. I look at you and I'm like, okay, maybe like like maybe doing shit like that all the time isn't good. And like I used you as like a like as a like a why am I fucking blanking?
Example.
Example. Thank you. Not even like what you did. I more so I used what getting sober as an example. And like cuz like I was getting like I was bad with pot for a while where I was smoking all day. Like every on the fucking half hour. It was like bong pack, bong pack, bong pack, bong pack. And now like I didn't like feeling that way, and I was just like, you know what? Like maybe I don't quit, but like maybe I just enjoy myself a little more. So like I started like working on like pushing like and like that's what I see from you is that you enjoy your life a lot more.
Yeah.
And you have hobbies that you constantly are finding, and like that's cool. Like that's yeah, that's awesome. And like yeah, but
Hell yeah.
I think this is a good transition to get into our three questions. And I think that, you know what? I think the story was good because I feel like these questions might go kind of quick, and we're already
Yeah.
like almost an hour in. But
Yeah.
so my first question. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Jerry, what's the
Yes.
album? What's your name? Yeah.
Yeah. So I make music under the name They Don't Deserve to Know. Um that's a real nice transition from all that. Is like there's a lot of people who don't fucking like me.
Yeah.
And there's I mean not a lot,
No,
but
I think a lot less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Like,
think stuff. Yeah.
people don't fuck with me, and people don't want to, like, people don't want to acknowledge all the changes and progress that I've made. And it was just simple. It was like that simple. Just like, okay, that's fine. They don't deserve to know, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like,
And
fuck
like
it.
you've always said that it's not really meant for people, it's meant for you, right? Like
Yeah, I
this
mean,
stuff is
everything.
only for you. Like you're putting it out for yourself and it's cool that like I was excited because you from the start of this you were always talking about like oh 5 minute EP. I'm like that sounds awesome. And then
Yeah.
you'd be like I just want to put it out, not caring what people would think. And the
Yeah.
amount
So
of like Instagram like story posts I saw, I was like this is fucking dope. I was like there's at least like 20, 30, something
yeah,
like that.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, the name like really came from, uh, I wanted, I just needed a name to document this shit that I didn't think anyone besides like close friends were ever really gonna hear. And I was just like, it's like, fuck them. This shit fire. They don't deserve to know.
Yeah.
um, it was just like a dumb thing. Um, that ended up taking on a real a real meaning, and it just kind of stuck. But initially, it was just like a band camp that nobody could find, and that's where I just like put my shitty little demos of songs that I wrote and stuff like that, and it just started to grow from there. But yeah, so I just put out a project called the 5 minute EP, and it was really born out of, I guess, the idea. Well, it was a situational thing. Like, Jack, I have an LP. It's pretty much ready to go. I am going to do it sometime this year, but Jack and I were way too busy to start tracking a full LP. Um, so after my road trip thing that I went on, um, at some point, like during or like shortly after that, I just like realized like me and Jack don't have time for this fucking LP. So like, what are we gonna do? And I was like, I could just put out a single. And then that one day, like I wrote that one song, and then recorded it the next day and then put it out the day after that. And it's like, it sounds like shit, but it's a cool song, and I just wanted to put something out, so I did. But after I put that out, I was like, that was in like mid October, and I was like, I really want to have something that is not just like a little thing that I did and put out. Like, I want to show people. I guess I don't know, like this whole project, like it hasn't been about showing anyone anything. Like it's all been for me. But I was like, now I've put something out. So if someone finds my project, like I would like them to know what I'm really about.
Yeah.
And then I wrote this short song that became the problem with leaving the first tune on the EP. I wrote it during my road trip in a bunch of motel rooms, um, and uh, finally finished it on that fateful night in Cisco, Texas, at the Lone Star Inn. It was the fucking worst motel I've ever stayed in,
They
and
have a motel named the Lone Star, and their famous beer is named the Lone Star. Okay, really, really
yeah,
bland.
I don't know. It just sucked. Like it was like smelly and dirty, and there was like fucking dead like spider crickets in the bathroom.
Love them.
And there's a Snapchat on my phone, and I'm like, bro, are y'all for real? Like, how'd you miss this? Like, so yeah, it just sucked, and I literally couldn't sleep. And as I'm telling this story, I'm basically like, it's literally that's the lyrics of the first part of the song is just like shitty motel, dead crickets. I couldn't sleep, far from Nashville. Um, and I don't have a place to stay in Nashville either. So I'm like, and I'm like running out of money, and I'm like, fuck, like I'm probably gonna have to stay at another fucking shithole like this. And anyway, so I wrote that song and finished it. Um, like the first half I finished out there. And then when I came home, I wrote like the second section, and it was originally going to be 2 songs, but the second section just like they were meant to be played as one piece. So I was like, why fuck around with this bullshit? Like I'll just keep them together. And I wrote that section the day I got home, and it clocked in at like maybe a minute and a half. I think it's like a minute and 20 seconds. And I was like, okay. And then I wrote this other song very shortly after that, and that was like a minute and 20 seconds. And I was like, what if I did this thing, like this 5-minute EP thing? It had been circling around in my brain for a while, like something like that, like the this long EP.
Yeah.
Um, largely inspired. There's this band Invalids. They have the 200-second EP, and I always thought that was a super cool idea. And yeah, it's really it's really good. It's bonkers. Um,
What is that? 5 minutes, 200
n-
seconds.
no,
It's like
no, it's shorter than that.
four, three something,
What's
four. So
it's
120,
it's
120. That's
it's 5 songs, and it's 200 seconds. So like 2 minutes would be 100 and
yeah, 20.
20 seconds. So it's like 3 minutes and 20 seconds
That's crazy.
if
Five
math
songs.
serves. 5 songs, yeah.
That's wild. I
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah. So um it's really cool, and it's just like wild as mathy type shit. And I just wanted to do like I had like 3 minutes between the 2 songs that I wrote. And I was like, which at the time I thought was 3 songs, but on the EP it's 2 songs. And I was like, let me just write another thing that closes the gap, call it the 5-minute EP. Jack and I can track it in like a weekend, and then boom, like it's done. It's there. So um yeah, that's how it came about. I don't think was that just an intro? Did you ask your first question?
No. Well, kind
Okay.
of. I asked the what's the name? So I guess that's one question. It's 4 questions, guys. I'm sorry, I lied.
Okay.
So um so you already kind of mentioned one thing with invalids about because my next question is how do you wrap your inspirations and like your
Oh
writing
yeah.
process? And you said invalids, and that was more so you wanted to do something based upon
Yeah, that
objective
was
they
just
did.
like that was just like a thing that Pete did, and I was like, that's a cool idea. Um, however, they are like a big musical influence, especially lately. I've listened to a lot of Invalids. I don't think any of my shit really sounds like Invalids, but um, so to answer your question, a lot of the stuff I write, I can't particularly trace it to any one thing or artist. Like it's usually just a song I write, and it's a collection of everything that I listen to, and I listen to a lot. So usually I can't really trace it to anything particular aside from maybe like a couple moments. I've since written a song. I wrote it this week, and I'm like, um, I've I've been working on it, and I worked on it a lot last night. And there's like 4 different moments in that song where I know exactly where it's coming from. Like there's this percussion break, and I was able to like be like, oh, it's like I want to do something like this song. The song is Damaged Goods by La Dispute. There's this like
Oh,
sick
great song.
percussion break. And my thing, it doesn't sound like that. Um it doesn't sound like that, but it was like that was like definitely an influence. And there's also a This Town Needs Guns song. I've got to look it up because um I totally forgot I blanked on the name last night. I think it's Yeah, okay. It's off the first record, and I'll tell you for why. And it starts out with just like a drum groove and hand claps. And that was another thing. Like this percussion break was gonna be like some sort of mixture of those elements. And there was a vocal melody in there that I was like, oh, this is a ripoff from this. Like, let me not do that. And I changed it a little bit, but there was a lot of moments in that song. And then the end, there's like a fucking wild tapping part, and it's gonna have like these like gang like yelling vocals. And there was a lot of bands where I'm like, this is that thing. So sometimes it really just depends. Like sometimes I know exactly where it's coming from, and sometimes I'm like, I just wrote this and it's a collection of all my influences.
Yeah. So it's what you're saying is it's kind of like that's how it is for me. Like a lot of my influences just kind of come out when I make the track. Um, I guess that question was more so: do you think about influences when you write? You know what I mean? Do you think like, well, like you said, lot of dispute, damaged goods. Like you were thinking like, oh, I'd like something like that.
So it's very rarely I sit down to write and I have the influence like already figured out, like I want to do this thing. It's more I was I had like a scratch guitar part, and I tracked the drums to it, and the scratch guitar part just ended, and I kept playing this drum beat, and I was like, oh, cool transition to just like have this like isolated drum groove for like three it's like 3 bars. And um and then so I put that down and went into the next part. And then now I was like, okay, this is a thing. Like this isolated drum groove is a thing. And that's where I was like, I want some hand claps. That reminds me of this TTNG song. Like I'll channel that. And like I want to have all the percussion that I own on this part too. And it reminded me of that like break in the Loudest Dispute song, where it's just like it sounds nothing like that, but that's where it was coming from. So to answer the actual question, I usually don't sit down and have the influence like mapped out.
Yeah,
It's usually like I write a part and I see where it kind of came from,
true. So
if at all.
that's like the biggest difference I think about your side of production and my side, because like my side is hugely based off of reference tracks. You're trying to get certain sounds that sound similar to, like for me, I'm a lo-fi guy. I want sounds that sound something similar off that Steezy channel from what is it? Lo-fi beats to chill and study to. So
Right.
like I have to listen to the not that I have to, but like that's how I'll make lo-fi beats. I'll sit here and pull up a track, I'll hear it, I'll listen to it a few times. I'm like, all right, this is how I want it to sound. And then like I don't use influences, I use references. So that's like why, because I've fallen off of my influence trade because I'm trying to get better at production rather than making like
Yeah, like
songs.
rather, yeah, okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm worrying about, oh, I want my bass to sound like I'm still being influenced. I want my bass to sound like Joji, but how do I do that? So here's 7 different ways of making your bass sound fatter, thicker, blah, blah. And then it's not learning about, like, I'm not influenced to make a song off of that said Joji track, but I'm more influenced on how to get a tone. So like
Mhm.
right now my influences are based upon like production and like not music making. So like I was trying to make tracks earlier this week and I was like, bro, I'm like lacking. Like I don't really like know where to go with things. And that's
Mm.
my second question, which is a great transition. I'm pretty good at these goddamn transitions.
I love it.
The second question is arrangement. Like how do you, especially with a 5 minute EP, like it's not a verse chorus. It's more like a verse chorus bridge end type of idea,
Mhm.
I'm assuming. So like how do you decide where you're gonna place your, because like I'm stuck in this starts on the chorus, then into the verse, because that's how most rap songs and most lo-fi beats are. And like then there's a bridge halfway through the song. And it's just like, how do you sit here and when you sit down and you're like play that first guitar riff, you're like, oh, this is how I hear it going.
Right. So My process looks something like this. I sit on my couch with an acoustic guitar and have something that I like. That guitar part I wrote is pretty much like planted in my brain enough to the point where like I don't even have to do a scratch track. Like it's in my head. I'll open a Pro Tools session, set the click and play what I think the drums should be. And then um and then it varies.
Y'all live instrument guys be doing that shit, doing drums first. I do it too. Like but I don't have any, and then I'll start adding so I'll make a beat and then I'll like add it. So like you have like an idea, like kind of like a fledged idea, and then you're like, all right, so because you're more trained in drums, so when you're writing, I'm assuming it's easier to write a track on drums, knowing the guitar riff looping in your head.
Yeah, so it's weird. Like I don't stick to any one thing. There's a song on my LP where I I wrote like the first section, did a scratch guitar, tracked the drums to it, and then I literally just kept playing drums. And I went on for like a good while and then I wrote guitar to that. Usually that doesn't happen. It's usually I have a song written on guitar, I'll scratch track it, play the drums to it, and then kind of rethink and critique and whatnot. Um, but it really depends. Um, like sometimes I don't have the full song on guitar, and then it's like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Um, and whatever instrument I'm feeling like is going to drive the next part of the song, like that's where I go. Like, okay, I have an idea for the next part on drums. I'll go to the drum set, or like I know what riff on guitar is coming next. Like I will I will go to the guitar. So it's weird. And
Yes.
it's mostly it's all written for the most part by myself. So a lot of it is just like running back and forth between the computer, different instruments, and just like piecing shit together until it like kind of gets somewhat coherent. But, like the problem, like for example, the problem with Leaving was completely written. Like I wrote the whole song on guitar and I wrote the lyrics with that, and that was all figured out. So it was just like, let me track the drums,
True.
you know?
True. So it's
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
whatever you're feeling, basically. But what I get from it is you hear drums more because like you say, you told me that like many of times that you probably sit on your couch for like 4 hours just hitting notes trying to figure something out. So
Yeah, for sure.
you have a little more difficult time writing like instruments. Same with me, right? Writing with instruments rather than playing drums, which is
I
kind of
love
makes
how you
sense.
I love you said instruments and drums separately.
But
So, okay,
that's how I do it in my
so
production.
so a sound engineer, a musician, and a drummer walk into the bar.
Yeah, yeah, literally that joke. No, because it's just like the way that I group everything is instrumental drums. So I don't even look at drums as like it's an instrument, right? But
Yeah,
like when
of
I'm
course.
producing, they're two separate things to me. Which
Yeah, it's like melodic instruments versus like for the
rhythm,
most
yeah,
part rhythmic atonal.
yeah, yeah.
Like drums aren't atonal, but like in a
Well, that's
rock
the
setting, it kinda,
yeah, like that's the cool thing about well, maybe cool, but also for some people frustrating part about producing beats is that they sit here and they make hard ass beats for like months on end, and then they figure out that they have to transpose their kicks to their 808s and stuff like that. It's
That's
like yeah, because you have to have them
interesting.
in the same key. Because if you don't have them in the same key, when that boom from the kick goes off and then the bass is bam, that the frequencies are not close to each other. So it's like,
Right.
and it makes this weird
It's like
distortion, odd effect. So like for me, that was my biggest struggle. I didn't know that that was even a thing. And that's I think the most difficult part about like producing beats and like stuff like that is because like you get you could sit here and like make a whole track, and then there's like mainly just like small things that you could have done to make it sound 30 times better, and then you're just like, well, I didn't know about transposing my kick. I didn't know about transposing my snare so that snare, kick, and 808 sounds similar. Like it's all stuff like that.
Interesting.
So like so the reason I asked that question is because like I tend to only look at loops and never about arrangement, but
Mm.
yeah, I feel
I
like what I got from that was that it just flows. Like whatever you think the arrangement's going to be is just coming out of you.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with having no idea, no bias, like, and also being a drummer by trade. Because a lot of bands that I've been in the past was like guitar homie man came with like two or three like apart, like a lot of Love for Pluto stuff was like Arlie just had like four chords and a bunch of words, and it and I was like, how can I make a guitar part that doesn't change to make it sound like it's not four chords for 3 minutes? And it all just kind of came down to like changing the beat up, changing the feel, and being like, okay, you should play a lead here, and like we'll do a halftime feel here. And then like next thing you know, it doesn't sound like it's four chords. And with my process today, it's more like I can have like a bunch of riffs that are just in the memory bank and like change them to a different key, or like kind of take two different tempos and make them meet in the middle. Or lately I've been doing this a lot. It's just a fuck ton of tempo changes and just embracing it. Just
Yeah.
like, I'm changing tempo here. You're either with it or you're not,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So looking at it like you're in your first band, that's probably like what I got. The best like phrase that I can get at from that is like just go in like it's your four friends that are from middle school that just started a band and none of them are good at instruments, and you're probably the only one who knows a little more. So because like that's my big issue is that I hear bigger producers, and this is everyone's big issue, and I can't sit here and act like it's my only big issue. Like everybody has this issue, but you hear your influence, your bigger artists, your bigger producers, stuff like that, and you go, wow, why doesn't mine sound like this? Or you make a track that's really good to you, and then you listen to Kenny Beats and you're like, so why can't I sound like that? And it's just like, well, you don't have 15 years of
right.
education. You don't have actual education and stuff like that. So and I've been getting into that, going in with no mindset, just making stuff now. And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
started with drums, is because I can just make a drum beat and then chop samples or play piano or do really whatever I want. Um, but let's transition to the last one,
Yeah.
which is when you're writing, like, how do you know what the tone of the song is going to be? Like, is it crispy? Is it clean? Is it reverbed all the way out as possible? Is it small, big, like kind of center speakers, stereo width, like stuff like that? Like, how do you like do you just, or are you a mix as you go type of guy, where you not mix as you go, but you like when you start getting into the mixing process, then you hear the tone?
Right. Okay. So it's the first thing that came to mind is that a lot of it comes from like being in a traditional band setting, and a lot of it is also comes from like playing guitar in a band, right? Like I write riffs and I usually know whether I want it like sparkling clean, or like this shit's gonna have distortion and it's gonna rock. um so I always have that kind of a idea in my mind. um I am trying to get more, like, as a whole, I'm trying to get more into, like, I sit down and I'm starting a record today, like, how do I want the drums on this record to sound? How do I want the guitar tones to be? Like, how am I going to mix this whole project? But I don't know, that's a different story. As far as like the tones of individual songs, like I really try hard to let the song tell me what it needs to be. I know that sounds like a little ridiculous,
No, that
but
makes sense though.
but like with the problem with leaving and like all those riffs, like I knew this riff's going to be clean, this riff's going to be dirty, this riff I actually want to track that on acoustic guitar, and stuff like that. Like it's just, I know that going in, and sometimes things change, but it's usually it kind of stays with what I originally thought, because if I think this riff's going to have distortion, like that's going to affect the way I play drums. So it's kind of like it's kind of written in to the song once I make that decision. Um, with a song like Curtains, that was one where I knew I wanted a lot of like layered guitar. I wanted a big stereo picture strictly because I had so many guitars. So I wanted like a very vast stereo picture of all these acoustic guitars, because I didn't want them just like shot up the middle in each other fucking way, you know.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it really just comes down to what the song is kind of speaking to me. And every now and again, like I just get, I'm sure you get in this mode where you're mixing, and I'm just like, I want to try some new fucking weird shit. Like,
Oh,
what can I do?
I just so the remix I'm working on, I mixed the whole thing and I just deleted every single plugin to remix it because I was like, nope, this is not the mix.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, is like, that's why I'm like, so like I'm starting to find my tone. Obviously, my name's Lo-Fi as my producer name. I like lo-fi tones. The issue with that is there's a good lo-fi and then there's just destroying your mix. Like there's a, and it's a very fine line where it can be good or destroyed. Like it's like that far from each other. So that's kind of cool. If you know that trick?
What?
If you hold, this is so random, but if you hold your finger between like your mic, like maybe more like this because it's sideways, it splits your voice so then it doesn't have any pop.
Really?
Yeah. No pop.
Huh.
Yeah. Like it has a pop, but it's not distorting it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I read
I
that.
will be fucking around with that.
A pencil as well. People will tape pencils to their mics to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I read that in my what is that shit? Music
Yeah,
production mixing book thing.
yeah.
But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that was so random. But yeah, I think that's like kind of common with everybody, how they like I think what the whole thing is like, not to steal Kenny Beats thing, but it's just like, don't overthink shit. Like just go into it with a blank mind, because I guess every artist starting off sucks, you know what I mean, unless they have millions of dollars and their parents are rich or some shit like that. But
You can still suck if that's the
oh,
case.
100%, dude. I mean, like, what's her name? Uh Rebecca Black. Trash. Wealthy
Um,
family.
I mean, that song is trash, but I think she actually ended up making like a respectable career.
Bro, she's bad.
Really?
She bad now. She bad.
Oh, I
Oh,
know. Oh, I know. I know
bad.
that's right. I
I was
know
like,
that's right.
because I was on TikTok. Yeah, I'd be on TikTok, y'all. You already know that. But I'm scrolling and it said Rebecca Black. I was like, lol. And then like I went on the Instagram and it had the blue check mark. I was like, oh no, this is Rebecca Black. I was like, that is a turnaround, you know? I was like, damn, she's like my goth girlfriend that I've always wanted. Yeah. But yeah, no. So like, I know that's always what the answer is for me, is that I've always been overthinking it. But like, I think we might not next podcast, but soon we'll be probably doing the same thing with Jack, breaking down his process. And yeah, I'm just, because I'm trying to, it's like I'm in an echo chamber where all I've made was lo-fi beats for like, technically I like to look at it as, this is my last year was my first real year of producing. So for like a year, that's all I've made. And it's just like, I kind of want to get my production game up and hear like how other people experience mixing and creating songs and stuff like that. Because it's like I'm getting better, a lot better, and I always have to sit here and be like, yo, man, like literally it took every producer you listen to 10 years to get to where they're at. Like I'm probably
Yeah.
going to be 30 something when I actually get like a real good gig. And that's
Right.
fine with me. It sucks that I have to like wait, but I mean, I used to be heartbroken about not being an artist, and now I'm just like, you know what, like I could be like if I make
Mm-hmm.
a good career in music, like I could be, but it's not like a thing I'm like worried about. I want to get good at producing and kind of well, this is a new thing. I don't think I even talked to you about it. I think I'm going to college
Oh, sick.
for music production. Since I'm a
Good
Camden
stuff.
County resident, I can go for free,
Really?
like free for music production. But I'm gonna major in business and minor in production because I want to open my own beat store, stuff like that. So it's better to know business than fully know production. Because production, like everybody tells you, it's open ended, and going to college for it usually is a waste of money. But
Right.
since I want to build a business, I was like, you know what? How about I go for business? And then everybody in my family is just like, you know how hard it is? I was just like, you know how much I want it though? That's the difference. Is like I will put myself through like probably being pissed off for like 3-4 years because I'll have to do remedial classes my first year.
Right.
But it's gonna be worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up. I
Yeah.
slammed like 2 LaCroix. I really got to pee. And
Yeah. I gotta
Jack is down for next week.
next week.
He's going to hate me, but I am going to have a fucking arsenal of questions for that man.
Good,
So,
because I'm gonna let you lead it because I'm just gonna sit in the background and ask my random questions like I do.
all right, sounds
Yeah.
good, man. Well, I appreciate you. Uh, I haven't cried laughing in a while, so that
Yeah.
was fun, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time to ask me about my process because I don't really get to talk about it, which is why I like this podcast. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's a lot of fun. And do you shit. Never mind. I'll just ask you when we actually record end the recording because it's about the title. It doesn't have to
okay,
do. But yes, we will see you next Saturday. Or I'm going to have it done tonight, which is Saturday, so it'll be out Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday, and we're gonna be on a weekly schedule now. Every
yeah,
Sunday, I want to say okay, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. every Sunday.
okay, cool.
Where we'll see you guys later.
Later.